So let's talk about Chainsaw Man chapter 216, because this was the one chapter, just like everybody else, that I was really looking forward to, because the way that the last chapter ended, where we saw young Denji chasing Aza down that alleyway, it got me thinking in my head that we were going to be getting a lot of things in this chapter when it comes to really breaking down what this dream sequence really is. And we did get some things to that. Not entirely everything, but we did get a little something to work with that I do want to touch on when it comes to this chapter, as well as things that happened in reality when it comes to Kushida and Yoru's battle. So allow me to express how I feel about this chapter, and be sure to let me know, as always, how you guys feel about it in the comments. But let's dive into chapter 216 of Chainsaw Man. So this chapter opens with something I find really fascinating: the dream sequence between young Denji and Aza. And right away, it sets a tone that feels both unsettling and deeply personal. Denji's younger self asking Aza what she's trying to pursue really feels like the story is hinting at her core struggles, the things she wants but can't quite put into words. Instead of answering, Aza takes off running, almost like she's running from the truth or even herself, and that moment spoke volumes without needing any dialogue. Then we get that disturbing detail of Aza crushing a chicken under her foot, just like in her earlier dream. To me, it shows how her trauma and guilt have shaped her to the point that she can't escape the cycle in her own subconscious. Aza is someone who's constantly carrying pain, regret, and the feeling that she ruins everything she touches, and this imagery only reinforces that. And what I really like about this is how Fujimoto uses a surreal dreamscape to slowly peel back layers of Aza's past. It's not straightforward, but it doesn't have to be. The imagery does the heavy lifting, and you could feel the unease build as Denji keeps chasing after her. That chase really symbolizes something bigger: Denji trying to reach Aza's true self in her past, even if she doesn't want to be caught. And by the time we circle back later in the chapter and see who Aza is chasing, the earlier parts of this dream make so much sense. But even on its own, I think this opening shows how much Chainsaw Man isn't just about the flashy fights that we see from time to time. It's about the human pain, guilt, and how people live with their past, and Aza's dream really set the stage for the emotional punch the chapter ends on. Now, switching back to the real world, the reveal about Yoru's contract with California was wild, because it instantly reminded me of Makima making deals with world powers back in part 1, and it's clear Fujimoto wants us to draw that connection. Yoru basically spares the entire state from her upcoming war, but in return, the citizens have to bear her injuries. An entire population is forced to suffer whenever she takes damage. And when she taunts Kushida about California's population being 32 million people, you can just feel how smug and confident she is. That's an absurdly high number of lives she can leech from, which makes her one of the most terrifying threats that Kushida has ever faced. I really like how this deal shows her cunning side. She's not just some violent war machine, she knows how to weaponize human lives and systems to her advantage. And this also raises a lot of questions for me. If Yoru can make these deals with states or governments, how far can her influence really stretch? Does this mean other devils can strike similar contracts? And if so, how many layers of manipulation are hidden in the world of Chainsaw Man? The fact that Fujimoto dropped this detail so casually makes me think it'll come back around in a huge way. Personally, I thought this was one of the strongest parts of the chapter. It didn't just make Yoru scarier, it made her more interesting. Her parallels with Makima make her feel like she's part of the cycle that Denji can't seem to escape, always facing devils who blur the lines between manipulation and raw power, and it leaves me curious about what other tricks she has up her sleeve. The fight sequence in this chapter was insane, and Yoru summoning the accident devil and turning wheels into a chainsaw whip was such a creative touch. It's brutal, fast, and chaotic, which feels exactly right for a battle with the chainsaw devil. The way that she slashes Bushido through multiple buildings, almost gleeful as she does it, really hammered home just how bloodthirsty and dangerous she is in battle. But then Fujimoto flips it around with Bushido's counterattack. Chainsaw Man literally bisecting Yoru was one of those wow moments that reminded you that he's not someone to underestimate. For a second, you almost think Bushido has the upper hand, and it's exciting to see him fight back with that same raw energy we've always loved about him. Of course, Yoru isn't someone who stays down. She regenerates immediately by sacrificing more lives, and that whole mechanic feels terrifying when you think about the cost. She then goes as far as beheading Bushido with her whip, and that was just brutal. You can almost feel her enjoying every second of it, and that sadistic joy really separates her from other devils that we've seen. And for me, this fight was also another highlight of the chapter because it balances spectacle with storytelling. It wasn't just about the flashy moves that we saw, it tied back to Yoru's deal, her cruelty, and her hunger for dominance. And Bushido might have fought plenty of enemies before, but this one feels different. This feels like someone who could push him to his absolute limits. And the emotional payoff of the dream sequence comes at the end when we finally see who Aza has been chasing, her mother. That reveal hit hard because it connects everything back to the most formative trauma in Aza's life. Her mom sacrificing herself to save Aza from the Typhoon Devil explains so much about her character and why she carries so much guilt. It reframes a lot about her earlier actions and personality traits. What really stood out to me was the ambiguity Fujimoto leaves us with. When Aza calls out to her mother doesn't show warmth or recognition. Her face is almost cold and emotionless, and that detail makes you question the entire event. Did things really happen the way that Aza remembers, or could it be that Aza is responsible for her mother's death in some way, and her memory has twisted it over time to cope with the guilt? That kind of uncertainty is what Chainsaw Man does best. It doesn't give you clean answers, it makes you sit with the unease and wonder what the truth really is. For Aza, this unresolved trauma is what shapes her entire existence. She's haunted by the possibility that she's the reason her mom is gone, and even in a dream, she can't find peace. To me, this ending was another strong part of the chapter because it takes all the chaos and violence from earlier and grounds it into something deeply human when it comes to loss, guilt, and the way that memory can betray us. It left me thinking about Aza long after I finished the chapter, and I think that's the mark of great storytelling. So those are my thoughts on Chainsaw Man chapter 216. It really has me thinking, are we going to find out that Aza is responsible with everything that's going on? Because obviously there's a popular theory going on in the community when it comes to the Fight Club theory, where Yoru is just a figment of Aza's imagination, and it's actually Aza responsible for all these things, and Aza's actually the war devil herself. It just makes me feel like what I thought we were going to be getting in this chapter, we might actually get in the next chapter of Chainsaw Man, and just gets me really intrigued to see what Fujimoto has up his sleeve, because I am definitely very curious to see what is going to transpire more in this dream that we've been seeing played out within this chapter itself, and what answers we're going to be getting with the questions that we asked. But other than that though, that's all I have to say about Chainsaw Man chapter 216. So I'm very curious to hear how you guys feel about this chapter. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you guys have any thoughts of your own that you want to share with me? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links to those are located in the description below, so be sure to follow me on there. Also, if you guys want to join my Discord server, the link is listed in the description and is also pinned to the comment section down below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I'm dropping a new video on the channel. I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. and I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.